Right, guys, so welcome to my webinar. This is about how to create a Christmas full of enjoyment and progress. And that's the most important thing at this time of year. You do not want to be in a position where you're not allowing yourself to enjoy Christmas or December if you don't celebrate Christmas. You know, there's lots of good food around, lots of good social events. So, my take on it is to absolutely enjoy it, but to also be in a position where you don't necessarily, I don't want to say ruin, but you don't want to put behind your progress, because there is a way where you can actually sustain progress and still have a really, really good time. So I'm going to take you through that today. So let's get on the first page. So Christmas is about damage control and not damage prevention. So what I mean by this is we don't necessarily want to think about Christmas as a time to keep going in, say, our calorie deficit or keep going at absolute maximal speed towards our goal. We want to look at it as a thing that can be enjoyed, but also without completely preventing damage. So there's going to be some damage, obviously. If you're enjoying Christmas, there may be some days where you go off track and not track your food, and that is okay. So there's two types of people when it comes to Christmas: the person who overly restricts, panics, and feels guilty for any level of indulgence. And these are the type of people that feel guilt, feel shame, almost hate themselves after Christmas. And trust me, guys, I've been there, and I know clients have been there too. And the biggest thing is we're going to go into why people can get like that and also how to avoid it. So number two would be the person who hits the F it button and literally can't stop eating. So there will be absolutely going crazy at this time of year, and eating everything in sight and maybe feeling guilty too, but also gets to a point where they just keep eating and eating and eating. And what you can see from these two types of people is there is no balance. And that is the biggest thing. There can be a third type of person, and that is who I want you guys to be. And that's not me telling you how to live and enjoy Christmas. It's just how to approach it mentally. And that's what we're going to go into. And that third person can be someone who finds balance between their goals and also their enjoyment, which we can absolutely be. So firstly, you want to know what you want out of Christmas. So what I mean by this is it's totally your approach. So what do you want out of Christmas? I want you to write this down and actually ask yourself, what do I want out of Christmas? So for me, what I want out of Christmas is I want maximum enjoyment with my family, my partner, my friends, with the social events, with generally the food, and watching Christmas movies, going out to Christmas markets and enjoying myself, not feeling like I can't have something, whilst also still not derailing my fat loss progress. So this year I've lost 20 kilos, and I don't want to be at the start of next year and say, right, I now want to lose another 5 to get back to where I originally was before Christmas. So last year I ended up putting on like 4 kilos at Christmas, and I thought to myself, I'm not doing this again. I enjoyed myself, but equally then January came, and January was about getting rid of the damage I'd created in December, which almost didn't make sense to me. I thought, well, hang on a minute. It seems kind of pointless. I've enjoyed December, but I'm almost suffering now because I've had fun. And that's not a good approach mentally. So yeah, that's what I want you guys to think about, what you want out of Christmas, because that is the biggest thing. And there's no right answer to this. It's whatever you feel that you want out of it, and that's totally cool. And how this can look is having a rough plan slash roadmap of how you can achieve set outcomes. So yeah, like I said, mine's maximum enjoyment without compromising hard-earned progress. So have a rough plan, and I will go on to the CTCC roadmap soon, later on in this presentation. But what I want to just touch on now is have a rough plan. And what that means is you can say, right, we're on the 14th of December today. So by the time you watch it, it might be 15th, 16th, 17th of December. That's fine. So you want to look at this as something that you say, right, from the 15th till the 19th or 20th of December, I'm going to eat at maintenance, or I'm going to boost my calories up or boost them down, depending on where you are. If you're in a fat loss phase, you're going to say, right, I'm going to boost my calories up to maintenance. And, if you are struggling with maintenance, you can message me, we can chat, and I can kind of help you find your adaptive maintenance post fat loss phase, because it won't just be as simple as maybe a TDEE calculator and saying, right, eat this amount. It's going to be different based on your hormones, your appetite, and kind of getting back to baseline, which there's not always a set amount of calories that is baseline, based on activity, etc. post fat loss phase. So even if you're in a bulking phase, I'd say you could carry on But it's very easy to then go overboard and say, well, I'm bulking, bro. So I'm going to keep eating. I've been there. And also that is not fun. So I'd say bring it down to maintenance. So say, right, I'm going to bring my calories down or bring them up, and then have a rough plan. Say, right, I'm going to do that between the 15th and 20th or 23rd of December. And then 24th, 25th, 26th, I'm going to just not track. I'm going to eat whatever I want. And just fully allow myself to enjoy this. And even on the build up, I would say be flexible with the food choices you have. So don't just say, right, I'm not allowed this, this and that. Have mince pies, have that enjoyment, have a bit of alcohol in there, whatever you feel like you want. But just try and track. That would be my advice, between now and say the 23rd of December. My personal approach, and within the CTCC roadmap that I'm going to touch on, is that you are in a good position if you can track calories based on your maintenance, so you're aware, so you're not just going overboard. And that is damage control, because you're allowing yourself the enjoyable foods, but also being like, right, I'm going to cut it off at say 2,500 calories, and then you're in a good position where your body weight is going to maintain and you're feeling confident. So that is what I would say. And also write down the 3 key things you want out of the festive period. And there's no right answer to this. If you have one, great, but if you have 3, that's even better. Write it down and keep telling yourself that, being like, right, what do I want out of Christmas? If I want to lose fat over Christmas, then great, go for it. But most people fail because it's an unrealistic approach, because it gets to a point where you're going to be like, oh, screw it. The mince pies are out, family's down, and it's very difficult to lose fat over this time. So going to maintenance, calories, and maintaining your weight, maintaining your progress, maintaining energy, strength, performance is not going to be a negative thing. It's certainly not taking your foot off the accelerator, even though you're kind of reducing the pressure you put on the accelerator. You're just saying, right, I'm going to ease off a little bit and just not necessarily cruise through, but kind of get to a point where you're moving forward in a positive way, where you're keeping progress and you're also keeping enjoyment. So then come January, you're like, right, I've maybe put on 1 kilo over the Christmas period, and that's going to be water, glycogen, extra food volume, and that's fine. And there's probably not much fat gain in there if you do it correctly. And if that's what you want, then great. That's not what everyone wants. If you want pure enjoyment, then turn this lecture off and don't even watch this. It depends what you want. But I know for most people watching this, you've put this on for a reason. And that reason is probably because you don't want Christmas to be another one of these events where you think, damn, I've lost loads of progress. All this effort I put in October, November, December, now I've screwed it up. And I don't want you guys to be in that place, because that feels terrible. And I don't want that from you. So yeah. And you're eating a calorie deficit, start planning ahead. So the rest of December shouldn't be a time to push weight down. It should be a time where calories are boosted up to match the environmental demand. What I mean by this is there's social events in December, there's Christmas markets, there's all these lovely choices, and I've got a client, you'll know who you are, that loves all these unique little different flavors of mince pies, of this, that, they're really cool. And I love their approach to food in terms of the different types of food they have. Like, it's really experimental and cool. And so there's all these exciting different flavors out there of mince pies and this, that, the other. And you do want to be in a position where you can enjoy that. You go to a Christmas market, you get some Italian food, you get some Turkish food, whatever it is, and the chances are you're not going to know how many calories are in there. So, being in a calorie deficit can be quite difficult and quite dangerous. So, during a maintenance phase, or, it depends on your goal. If your goal is performance goal, then cool, go into maintenance won't matter. You might not be tracking calories, but if yours is a body goal and a general energy goal, you're probably going to want to go to maintenance if you're in a deficit. And same with bulking, actually, because you want to just maintain things, because it's very easy to go overboard, like I said. This will ease the pressure off for you, because you're not necessarily chasing a goal. You're just kind of cruising through in a way where you're still going to be able to push performance in the gym. So you're going to be able to enjoy the gym, enjoy your training where energy is in a good place, but also you are in a good position with your food. So here you can say, and get stronger whilst the higher food volume is going in. That's more to people in a calorie deficit. So I'm speaking to the people there that obviously if you're boosting your calories up from a prolonged period of lower calories, then you will find your strength is going up even though you're at maintenance and you're not changing your weight, so to speak. But little caveat here, you will see that your weight changes if you are going from a deficit, so eating calories that you are not burning. So if you're in a position where you're able to actually lose the body fat whilst eating less than your body needs, so you will find that when you boost your calories up, you have more energy and you will get stronger. So the biggest thing is knowing that weight will change, and that's fine. That's going to be glycogen, water, food volume, and that's absolutely normal when your body is coming out of a fat loss phase and it's boosting and kind of balancing out the stress in your body that has happened from a prolonged fat loss period. So that is totally normal, guys. So yeah, so best results I've seen myself and clients is when they approach December tactically, and that does not mean restrictively, that means tactically, with confidence and with a rough plan, because a rough plan does help you keep things in mind rather than just saying, I may do this, I may do that. How many times have you said to yourself, oh, I may do this, may do that, and you just don't do it because you haven't got it written down, you haven't got it planned, and you haven't really got a reason. If you know what you want out of something, the chances are you're going to be more inclined to pursue that because you know what you want. So yeah, I would definitely say a flexible approach to eating is important. So allowing yourself to kind of eat what you want to a point while still having the key principles instilled in you, such as following a healthy lifestyle, like focusing on protein because that's going to be very satiating, so it's going to keep you fuller for longer. Having water before every meal, keeping hydration in there, for example. Getting the right sleep, keeping activity high, just generally living a healthy lifestyle. Don't let that go just because it's December, it's Christmas, but just be more flexible with food, especially because that's where most issues arise in December for most people. So, immediate action to take. So, depending on the day you're watching this, I would say at least a week before Christmas, boost your calories up or bring them down to maintenance. And what maintenance will be is how to know you're at maintenance calories is when your weight will pretty much stay the same. And obviously, depending on where you're coming off, if you're coming off a fat loss phase, your weight will boost up just because of water, glycogen, etc. And same for bulk, you might find that when you bring the calories down, weight drops a little bit, and that's just going to be because there's less food volume, etc. So, let this be a rough guider of knowing you're at maintenance. And I cannot help you guys with that. Just drop me a little message on Instagram or however I message you this video over. So yeah, so the reason for this is actually being tactical, and it's strategy here. It's not just because we want to just get you to maintenance for a reason of, oh yeah, it's better not to push forward for progress. No, that's not true. It's actually because you are going to be able to balance yourself out. So not just being at maintenance, I like to see it as a recovery phase. You're replenishing your body and giving it exactly what it needs and not going overboard, but not going underboard. So, it balances out craving. So you'll find that if you're really craving foods a lot, allowing yourself that wiggle room to have it, it's going to be good. So yeah, higher calorie foods like cheese are going to be able to be had during a maintenance phase as compared to, say, a fat loss phase. But even if you were in a bulking phase, bringing your calories down is going to be a good position, just so then you're not overdoing things and piling on fat gain, because people focus too much on the scales when it comes to bulking, as opposed to how they feel, how they look. So visuals are a big thing, and how they generally perform in the gym. So yeah. So also, yeah, aim to boost maintenance calories up from around the 18th of December. I mean, for me personally, I've started a couple of days ago boosting mine up to maintenance. So I give myself a nice little bit of wiggle room in between now and then. And also then come January the 2nd, which is when you should then probably look at dropping down to your previous goal, whether that's fat loss or whether that's bulking again, or whatever your goal is. Change your calories around the 2nd of Jan, because that gives you the period of Christmas to New Year's to actually allow yourself to enjoy the food at probably a higher calorie end if you're in a calorie deficit, and you will be able to maintain a good position of energy, performance, and confidence, controlling damage, which is great. Like I said, you can just message me if you want help with this. Why do I recommend this approach? So I've obviously spelled that wrong, but it's all good, guys. So you will feel really good by enjoying Christmas and not overly restricting yourself. Like I said, social events, relaxation, etc., is going to be really good. And give 1 to 2 kilos of leeway due to food volume, glycogen, and water retention, like I said. But yeah, I do recommend this approach because, it can get quite demoralizing, quite difficult to be tracking your calories and rigorously putting in that work to bring the weight down or change your performance over this time of year, when the focus, I believe, should be on family, should be on resetting for the new year and kind of reflecting. I know for a lot of people it's a very reflective time of year. For me, I'll think about family members that are no longer with me, and it gets me in my feels this time of year. And I know for a lot of people they'll relate to this. So I would say that the pressure of having a strict goal like fat loss, or like hitting a certain number in the gym, or a weight goal, can be quite draining. So that's why I would say bring your calories up to maintenance, because then you can focus more on the enjoyment as opposed to the pushing of a goal. But then I would recommend tracking your food, whether you use a food app such as MyFitnessPal, MacroFactor, NutriCheck. It's fine. So use that just to track your calories pretty roughly or pretty accurately, which is great. Check your protein, your macros, that's a good thing to do. And I would also say, like, keep a rough trend of your weight, maybe once a week, twice a week, depending on how you see the scales and your relationship to them. And then from there, I would say there are going to be two things to kind of keep yourself in a good position. Keep training like normal, keep active, keep doing the things you normally would do. Try keep as much of a routine up until around the 23rd to 24th of December as you can. Just because it's the 15th of December, 16th of December, doesn't mean it's Christmas yet. Christmas Day is Christmas Day. That is the real day we all go, yeah, let's go, let's enjoy it. And I would say try not to just hit the effort button and say, screw it, I'm going to go all out because it's the 15th of December, because you probably will regret it on the 1st of Jan. So just be smart. Think about this time as, okay, up until Christmas Eve, I'm going to enjoy myself, but I'm not going to go overboard. Then on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, go for it. Don't track. Who cares, right? Just go for it, because that's probably what you're going to need. Intuitively go with how you feel. But yeah, I would say up until that point, try and track roughly and have an idea of the food going in and roughly the calories, which is going to be a good thing to do. So, things to avoid. So like I said, up until about the 23rd of December, I would say to track food and to have a rough idea of how many calories you're going for. Then on the 23rd of December or even 24th of December, just go on what you feel. So I would say it's a nice time on the 24th, 25th, 26th, just to kind of eat the amount you want, intuitively eat, go off feel, and not put too much pressure on yourself. And a big thing is try not to have negative self-talk. You will feel fluffier because of the extra water, because of more carbs, extra food. You will probably feel a bit lazy, a bit groggy. You're eating more chocolate or whatever you're eating, and that's normal. But try not to get in a loop of anxiety and guilt, because look, you've been pushing it hard. And if you're watching this video, I know you're the type of person that wants progress, that is real about this. Because most people have already switched off for the year and think, well, screw it. So the fact you're watching this, I'm proud of you for that. And you should be proud of yourself for that. So that already shows that you're committed to your journey. And that's brilliant. So, if the intention's been set, and like I said, you've got a rough plan, you've roadmapped yourself into a good position, and you've kind of planned things roughly, you've been pretty on track until, say, the 23rd of December, where you've at least tracked food at the very minimum. At least you know what's going in. And if you're hitting maintenance calories, you're winning, and you're still showing up for the gym or your fitness, whatever you're doing, then that's great. And that's what I would say. That's in a really good position. That will help you feel more relaxed. But then actually on the days where you eat more and probably don't track, just try not to stress. Just enjoy yourself, because that is totally, totally normal. See this as a time to reset physically, mentally, and emotionally. Maintenance calories can help you make you feel this way, because you'll be nourishing your body with what it needs, as opposed to depriving it or overdoing it with food. So it's a nice time of year to switch off. You're probably going to be off work, so just let yourself relax and enjoy things. It's okay, So my roadmap, the CTCC roadmap for the 23rd to the 26th, these 3 to 4 days should be approached differently. And I did touch upon that a minute ago. So forget tracking calories. Forget stressing about that. Intuitively eat the amount you feel you want with the foods you want. Why? Because it's the best time to do it. It's Christmas. Family's down. Whatever you're doing on Christmas, enjoy it. You deserve it. 3 or 4 days is not going to kill your progress. It's just going to refresh you mentally if you let it. Don't let your mind get in the way of your body enjoying the food it needs. It will use it for energy, and you'll have better performance in the gym, out the gym, for whatever sport you're doing after Christmas. It's great. It's a win-win. And look, I believe you'll probably regret not enjoying these 3 days more than you would if you actually restricted. So it's better to just go all in and enjoy yourself at this time, and rather than stressing. Like I said, you've worked hard all year for most people, so there's no point obsessively tracking and obsessively counting food and saying I can't have this, I can't have that. I'm a big believer on tracking things up until the 23rd, because then it gives you a rough roadmap of, right, okay, I'm in a good position for these 3 days of saying F it, I'm just going to eat whatever I want, and you're probably going to minimize fat gain if you're eating at around about the true maintenance. So the 23rd to 26th, they're not going to really touch your progress at all. They're not going to really go to, it's not really going to matter. The scales are going to be so small. compared to if you were to eat whatever you want through the whole of December. So these 3 days don't matter too much. Guys, the biggest thing is a little bit of enjoyment at this time of year is not going to undo all the hard work you have put in. So please remember that, okay? Perfect. So a healthy, balanced lifestyle isn't just grind, push. We're in a world now where it's so promoted to work 24/7, 100 hours a week, 20 million hours a day. Guys, you need time to reset. A big part of actually seeing progress isn't just pushing. It is allowing yourself to relax, to reset, to stretch, to let your body recover. Look, muscle is not built in the gym. So if you are somebody that loves building muscle, great. I love that too. But muscle is not built in the gym. It's broken down in the gym. It's built in your sleep. It's built in recovery. It's built in your nutrition, the protein, your food. And that's the biggest thing to remember. The actual work itself is amazing, but it's outside of that work that the growth truly happens. For instance, let's look at life, for instance. If a situation happens, rarely is it in the situation that we grow. It's normally after, where we reflect on it, we look back and say, I could have done that differently. That's where we grow. It's exactly the same for the gym. It's exactly the same for this lifestyle in general. If you're doing a 12-week challenge and you're going on holiday in February and you're 3 weeks in, first of all, you've probably started at a terrible time. You've booked the holiday at a terrible time of year, because you're going to be in a place now where you're probably stressing about eating this and eating that. But look, like I said, bring yourself to maintenance. You'll be in a better position. At least you're preventing damage. But the biggest thing is, you've got to try and enjoy things. And if you're living this as a lifestyle and you've been working hard, you've been pushing yourself, there is no point just saying, I'm not allowed to do this, because where is the fun in it? I bet you did not get into this, into fitness, into a healthy lifestyle, into improving your health, your wellness, your fitness, everything, because you wanted to restrict a beautiful time of year with family, with friends, whatever it looks like for you. I bet you did not get into it for that. I bet you did not get into it to feel guilty and anxious for enjoying a necessity of life, good food, good moments, good times. So just remember that, there's a time and a place to push, but there's also a time and a place to sit back, take your foot off the gas. And that doesn't mean you put it on the brake. That just means you kind of stay a bit slow. You say, okay, right, cool. I'm going to cruise at 20 miles an hour. I'm not going to go 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I'm just going to cruise. Doesn't mean you have to brake and go, okay, I need to just eat everything in sight and F it. Just balance. Say, okay, just because I'm not going all in doesn't mean I have to go all out. Find that balance. And that's been something I've had to work on so hard this year. But I'm at a place now where I feel like I can actually enjoy things without messing things up generally, which is great. My big take for this video is road mapping the next 2 to 3 weeks of December. So whenever you're watching it, it might be later on in December, whenever, but try and roadmap December, because it is important to minimize the likelihood of hitting the screw it button. And the closer you are to Christmas, restricting yourself, the harder it's going to be not to do that. And having a plan, kind of setting yourself up for success and starting to enjoy some of those foods and starting to bring your calories slightly up, where you're in a place where your body weight's roughly staying the same, your performance is good, you're not overeating or under consuming, you're at maintenance, in other words. It's going to allow you to enjoy the good foods, etc., when it comes to Christmas Day, without having these sky high cravings, and then you hit the binge button and you actually do some real damage to your progress, because you are eating 20,000 calories a day because you haven't had any calories in ages. So you binge. Some people think, okay, if I restrict the week of Christmas and then on Christmas Day I go all in, I'll be fine, then I'll go back to it. It doesn't work like that, because the moment you start having all these foods again, the cravings are going to go sky high, your hormones are going to go all over the place, you're going to be messed up physiologically, not just mentally, but physiologically. And then that's going to impact your physical progress because of the way you show up for yourself, not due to just mindset, but due to hormones and what's going on inside your body. So please remember that, guys. It's important to plan ahead, not necessarily say, right, at 8 a.m. I'm going to have this, 9 a.m. at 10 on this day, just roughly saying, right, through December from the 15th to the 23rd, and write it down. It's important to write it down to help actually stick it there. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z because X, Y, and Z. And if you've got that down, you have a rough plan. It does not need to be super specific. The more specific, the better, obviously, to make it very easy to follow. But it's just good to have a rough plan and say, right, I want this out of Christmas. I want this out of Christmas. I'm going to do this, this, and that to gain this out of Christmas. And then on this day, I'm going to do this. On the 23rd to the 26th, rough timeline, I'm going to just go all out and eat what I want. Then on the 26th till the 2nd of January, I'm going to go back to maintenance to bring the calories down probably, start tracking my food again, start weighing myself, and, and start being in a position where you're getting ready for January. Then January 2nd comes, you're like, right, boom, I'm ready. And not January 1st, because most people go out on January the 1st. January the 2nd is a nice time to say, right, I've really set out. It's the new year, 2nd day in, I'm ready to go. And that's when the new goal comes, the new push. That's what I would say. Takeaways from today, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, so it's been really nice for me to record this for you guys, and I want to do a lot more of these in the future. Christmas is what you make of it. No one can tell you what Christmas is. No one can tell you how to live it, how to do it, and what you need. If I'm training you, it doesn't matter. You do what you need to do. I just want you to have a rough plan so you don't feel guilty after. 3 to 4 days off isn't going to ruin progress. 3 to 4 days of doing whatever you want, not even thinking about, not even tracking at all, isn't going to do you any harm. What's going to do you harm is over-restricting, binge eating and saying screw it every single day of December, and also being really stressed and worried about it. Look, it is what it is. It's Christmas time. Enjoy it. It's not gonna derail progress. But go with a rough plan from now until the end of the year, and boost calories up to maintenance. Be relative with tracking and keeping track of data like weighing and keeping track of food on a food log app, which is great. Also checking in with me as well. It's brilliant. I'm always here to help anyone. But then when it comes to the actual, say, 23rd, 24th, 25th, or whenever you feel Christmas starts truly for you, then that's when I'd say take your foot off the gas a little bit and say, right, boom, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. That's fine. But I would still say eat kind of whatever you want through December, but just be smart about the amount you're eating. So still hit your calories, because you will still maintain if you're eating within that maintenance phase, even if it's not the best way to do it. It's going to be better. Like I said, damage control, not damage prevention. 3 to 4 days off doesn't mean binge eating excessively till January the 1st. Then you hate yourself. You hate your life. We don't want that. So, that's why I say have a rough plan between now and, say, Christmas Eve, or whenever Christmas truly starts for you, and follow roughly where you boost calories up slightly or boost them down depending on your cutting or bulking, fat loss phase or gaining phase. So then you do get to the time of Christmas Eve, Christmas, and you don't have the cravings to binge eat and to overdo it. That's the biggest thing. Just set yourself up for success, as opposed to going into it restrictive, and then just binge eating because you can't. You're like, oh my God, I need to just get it all in 4 days because I'm not allowed after. No, find that balance before. Then comes the day on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, you probably won't feel like eating as much as you think anyway, if you've already kind of prepared yourself mentally and physically. And that comes from routines. So set up a good routine. Keep activity there. So, just because it's Christmas and it's that, try and keep a routine of some sort, because who else feels like between the 24th and kind of 1st of Jan, everyone's in this weird limbo place. No one knows what they're doing. Everything feels weird. Everyone's off work. We're like, what the hell is going on? So try and have some sort of routine. Say, right, I'm still going to go gym a little bit. I'm just going to push a little bit of performance, go on some nice walks. Even if you don't want to go gym, have a deload, a couple of weeks off, that's fine. It's not going to kill your progress. Just go for some walks, keep fluid in there, get your nice sleep, stretch, do some yoga, things like that. They're still great. Just keep activity there. Just because it's Christmas, don't say, right, I'm just going to screw it to everything. My fitness journey starts on the 1st of Jan. No, just keep a healthy lifestyle throughout. And that comes from healthy habits, not just eating good. It doesn't matter about that. That's just one part of the puzzle. It's all the other things you do around that. Create some sort of routine, and that is what I would say. So I hope you've enjoyed today. But if you're a client, if you're not a client, there's still something that is there for you. But if you are a client, then yes, there we go. I'm announcing an exclusive competition from the 15th of December up until the 2nd of Jan, with prizes such as sports massage, £50 worth of supplements, and £80 worth of coaching given to the winner. And this is going to be a really cool challenge. So it's going to be in my WhatsApp community group for clients exclusively. And to anybody that's not in that group, you still get that, because some clients, it's slightly different in terms of the online and in-person clients that aren't merged together in the group. So yeah, all people will get that access to the the competition. And anyone not a client, you can also jump in my community group on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, I would say download it. If you do, brilliant. Click on the link in my bio. It's just say CTCC free community. Click on that. There's, I think, 47 members at the time I'm recording this. So it'd be amazing to get up to 60 members by the end of the year. And I'm going to be putting a competition in there tomorrow. So that's going to be Monday the 15th. and there is also going to be some prizes going in there for the people in that group. So why not set yourself up for success for January and give yourself a nice little boost? And yeah, I hope everyone's enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can message me on WhatsApp, you can message me on Instagram. And I just want you to know that Christmas is what you make of it. There is no right or wrong thing to do. Just set yourself up for success by planning ahead. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a brilliant Christmas.